This is the Mikedjkelly podcast.
Mikedjkelly. Mikedjkelly. Mikedjkelly.
Here we go. Narrow lanes for your safety. Rubbish. It's narrow lanes for roadworks. Say what you mean. Smaller sizes, higher prices. Outrageous. Let's get going with our 100% free Why Do the Rich Need to Get Richer edition of the very latest Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast. Cameras, action, hang on to your hats, we're off!
On this week's podcast.
Coming up, Bruce Springsteen, Nick Cave, Met Police, Shark vacuum cleaners, house prices, Twitter, on this day, fake showbiz news, charities, competitions, and a whole lot more. Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
Mr. Mike, how are you today?
Fab, my imaginary podcast friend.
Do you think artificial intelligence could replace us on the podcast?
Every chance. It would not take much to sound better than we do.
What, some massive computer trying to replicate our wit and humour? Impossible.
Time will tell.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
The very entertaining Nicky Horn on Boom Radio complaining about his EDF energy bill, but he is running a national radio station from his front room for 2 hours a day. How many radio stations at this moment are playing a Bruce Springsteen song around the world? I'm guessing it's probably around 100. And on radio, BBC Local Radio has been busy whittling down its staff numbers and getting rid of all the older presenters through some magic 60-second interview formats. Now many local BBC stations have more managers than daytime presenters, 5 managers and 3 presenters. From the 31st of August, the Met Police will not be answering mental health calls. They say the RCRP scheme used in Humberside, that's right care, right person, should be in place and has given other agencies due warning. The only trouble is that the police picked up these calls because nobody else was dealing with them. Nick Cave speaks out against boycotting songs because of the creators' actions. All the same, I find it difficult to listen to Gary Glitter, Jonathan King and Rolf Harris, to name but a few. Have you seen these vicious-looking rings which are shaped like big nuts, as in nuts and bolts, and made of gold and silver and worn on 4 fingers on one hand? They look very aggressive and thuggish. The advert says, order for Father's Day and get 10% off. Apparently, progressive chefs and their TV shows are encouraging excessive foraging for wild garlic, mushrooms, and are creating a risk to wildlife.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mikedjkelly podcast.
I'm going to the supermarket. Do you want anything getting?
Yes, please. Some tripe, dripping, rhubarb, a marrow, and some licorice. That would be good.
I'm only going to the Sainsbury's local. And you think they will have tripe, dripping, rhubarb, marrow and some licorice? I think there is not a cat in hell's chance of them having any of them.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
Let's have some things to think about. Fancy Jeremy Hunt lying about the financial state of the economy. No Wi-Fi on trains to save money. Adverts that make you change channel on the radio, especially the squeaky NHS Sugar app ad and the 3 Business adverts. Is it true when the Sex Pistols re-released God Save the Queen, it got to number 2 in the charts and was held off the number 1 spot by Rod Stewart? Are the rumours true that the chart was manipulated to keep the song off the number 1 spot? When I think back to junior and secondary school, I never had any gay friends at school. Or did I? Should you buy a McCarthy and Stone retirement home? I know someone who has, and it seems very expensive, and incidentally the ongoing monthly fees are just below what the average pensioner's state pension pays out every month. How odd. I live in a city that has virtually banned traffic from the city centre, yet at the same time it seems to encourage flights from the local airport. I will keep on planting my old Christmas trees to offset their carbon footprints. I do like these radio ads where they say they will plant a tree for every new order, or do I? I see that Shark says pet owners prefer its new vacuum cleaner. The advert says it has surveyed 50 people. No expense spared there then. There's a place in County Durham called Horden, Horden, where houses are for sale starting at 5k guide price. Don't believe me? Look on Zoopla. You know when you queue for things, doctors, shops, ferry terminals, airports, post office, supermarkets, if they wanted to get rid of the queues, they could. Don't you just miss metal dustbins, milk floats, wind-up car windows? Why not get a smart meter and start getting up to do the washing at 2 a.m. to save money?
This is the Shorter Than Short Mikedjkelly podcast.
Have you heard or seen that advert that claims if you had chicken pox, you're likely to get shingles at some point in your life? Have you had a broken fingernail in the past? In later life, if left untreated, these could turn into scissor hands. Yes, you could end up like Edward with a freakish appearance, accentuated by scissor blades replacing your hands. Find out more. Get help now at robbingmedications.co.uk. Yabba-dabba-dabba-doo, it's the Mike Kelly Short and Short podcast for you. On Twitter, David Bailey. So rape alarms scare horses, yet a 21-gun salute does not. Kate Wellham, it's absolutely wild how my 2-year-old niece couldn't string a sentence together 2 weeks ago and now suddenly can. Is that normal? I love it. Still calls me Andy Tits instead of Auntie Kate though. Tony Fisher, Gerard's cross. I'm not sure what he's cross about. Britain people, Boris Johnson, he gets legal aid, but ordinary people can't get legal aid if their gross annual income exceeds £12,475. Boris Johnson made £6 million last year. He gets 250k legal aid. Retweet if this is wrong. SOS Whipstable. If you have a young family, you're going to avoid anywhere with sewage. There's no point going to the seaside because you can't dip your feet in the water. Traders are fed up after At Southern Water released sewage over the dry bank holiday weekend. Fergal Sharkey. Clacton-on-Sea is one of the former bathing waters that was de-designated because it was repeatedly failing water testing. As it's no longer tested, it no longer counts towards government's excellent bathing water scores. Isn't that? At DEFRA Gov UK. Michael Rosen. Dear Cabinet Office, our lives were in your hands. Whatever you're hiding was a matter of life and death to us. Some of us were lucky to survive. Many did not. We're entitled to know why. Every little bit of it. Michael Rosen. David Lawrence. So his trousers don't fit, now his glasses don't fit. Did he have a growth spurt? Has no one told him?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Professor Frank McDonough at FXMC 1957. June 1980, the last edition of the ITV's children's show Magpie was broadcast. It was designed to compete with the BBC's Blue Peter by being more groovy and focusing more on popular culture. It had run since 30th of July 1968 in weekly 25-minute episodes. June 1975, the results of the EEC referendum revealed that 67.23% of the British public voted to stay in the European Economic Community, the EEC. Conservative leader Margaret Thatcher was one of the leaders of the Yes campaign. June 1973, the original Cavern Club on Matthew Street, Liverpool was demolished and the cellar below was filled in with rubble. The Beatles played regularly at the club between 1961 and 1963, along with other Merseybeat groups. A replica club now exists near the original site. June 1968, at 1:44 a.m, Robert F. Kennedy, aged 42, died in an LA hospital of gunshot wounds. He had extensive neurosurgery to remove a bullet from his brain, but could not be saved. His death came nearly 26 hours after the shooting. June 1936, Gatwick Airport opened in Surrey. It's London's second largest airport and is located south of central London. Gatwick was the first British airport to have a railway station and a train service running to it. June 1844, the Young Men's Christian Association, the YMCA, was founded in London by George Williams. It was designed as a refuge for homeless young men. It originally had strong links to Protestant churches, but this changed as people from all churches were welcomed. Get your new out-of-school uniform for the teenage male in your life. Yes, it's the new look casual wear for the teenage male about town. Buy the complete outfit here. You just need to send your leg, waist and chest measurements to us, and in return we'll send you black trousers, black t-shirt, black hoodie and black roll-down balaclava hats, black gloves with silver look rings to go on the outside. Goes well with a black electric bike. The ideal outfit for hanging around the bus station in. Go to our website at spottyoink.co.uk.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mikedjkelly podcast.
Today's do-gooders are thedogstrust.org.uk. Since 1891, we've been working for a better future for dogs and the people who love them. When a dog is in distress, we care for them. When a dog needs a home, we find a loving family. When an owner needs a helping hand or paw, or they just can't cope, we're ready to step in. For every dog, for every owner, we're right by their side, through thick and thin, throughout their lives. The bond they have is special to us. It changes lives, making each day happier and more complete. It's why we believe a dog is for life. Discover who we are, what we do, and how we'll never stop fighting to make tomorrow's world a better place for dogs. thedogstrust.org.uk.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
And it's our musical competition time. Name the group or the artiste who had a hit with this. I wrenched the nylon curtains back as far as they would go, then peered through the perspex window panes at the acrylic road. I drove my polypropylene car on wheels of sponge, then pulled into a wimpy bar to have a rubber bun. So who had a hit with that?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
And in fake showbiz news, Philip Schofield makes things even worse with his ITV colleagues by heating up fish in the work microwave. Kim Wilde says her cat seems a bit down this evening. Maybe he's a Barnsley fan, she laughed. Hugh Edwards returns to BBC News after serving a 6-week suspension for sneaking Madness song titles into his bulletin scripts. I sincerely apologise for any embarrassment caused, he told reporters. Sir Brian May reveals he couldn't decide what to have for tea tonight, so he used the use-by dates as a tiebreaker before immediately overruling the decision. It was the sausages I wanted, he laughed. Jane McDonald says her pals Beyoncé and Jay-Z have got a dishwasher with a built-in camera so you can see what's going on inside. It's pretty pointless, but they seem to like it, she chuckled. F1, Lewis Hamilton says following the cancellation of tomorrow's Grand Prix in Italy, he's decided to hire an inflatable helter-skelter if anyone fancies popping round for some sliding fun. Heston Blumenthal says tonight, for a laugh, he served diners at his Fat Duck restaurant, Felix Cat Food, at £150 a head, and you know what? They ate every single bite and told me that they loved it.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
Guess the celebrity. Born the 14th of June 1976 in Weymouth, he is a screenwriter, actor, comedian, TV presenter, radio personality, television actor, film actor, stand-up comedian. His breakthrough was in 2001, winning the City Life Best Newcomer of the Year and the BBC New Comedy Awards. In the ensuing years, his career burgeoned on the Manchester comedy circuit before he became well known for hosting the Friday Night Project with Justin Lee Collins. Who is he?
This is the Shorter Than Short Mikedjkelly podcast.
And in the late news, R.I.P. Astrid Gilberto, the bossa nova singer of The Girl from Ipanema. New survey finds UK food prices up by almost 20% and shoppers feeling they are the victims of food industry shrinkflation. EHRC, Equality and Human Rights Commission, becoming politicised under its chair, Kishore Faulkner. CBI, the Confederation of British Industry, not really the role model it should be. For £5 you can join Nigel Farage's private Twitter club. £400 private consultations to beat shortage of doctors. Doctors can still refer you to NHS treatments. Surely you'll find the shortage of staff at the next stage of your treatment. The billionaire Tory donor-owned tight-fisted Wellington pub company in the news for all the wrong reasons. UK firefighters called out 2,319 times in 2022 to help move obese people. New very green broccoli packet mix soup at £4 a go reduces diabetic blood sugar levels.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
If you want to get in touch about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please use either of the following to contact us, or if you want to send your own stories for the next episode, email cuttings, clips or sound clips to mike.djkelly@gmail.com or on Twitter @MikeKelly. If you're new to the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast, you can still get to hear all the previous episodes by just searching or shouting the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast show.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mikedjkelly.
Okay, it's time to go. Name the song or the artiste. I wrenched the nylon curtains back as far as they would go, then peered through the perspex window panes at the acrylic road. I drove my polypropylene car on wheels of sponge, then pulled into a wimpy bar to have a rubber bun. So who had a hit with that? It was X-Ray Specs and The Day the World Turned Dayglow. Guess the celebrity, born the 14th of June 1976 in Weymouth. He is a screenwriter, actor, comedian, TV presenter, radio personality, television actor, film actor, stand-up comedian. His breakthrough was in 2001, winning the City Life Best Newcomer of the Year and the BBC New Comedy Awards. In the ensuing years, his career burgeoned on the Manchester comedy circuit before he became well known for hosting the Friday Night Project with Justin Lee Collins. Who is he? It's Alan Carr. Today's do-gooders are Dogs Trust UK at dogstrust.org.uk. Guess what? That's enough for this Why Do the Rich Need to Get Richer edition of the crazy Shorter Than Short podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly.
And me, Joyce.
Thank you for listening. Please take care out there. And remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast show.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mikedjkelly podcast.
This is the Mikedjkelly podcast.
Mikedjkelly. Mikedjkelly. Mikedjkelly.